Hi everyone, and welcome to Tech Solutions Hub YouTube channel. It's your friend and technology instructor, Tech Wizard, and this channel is passionate about helping people who are blind or visually impaired to live more independent and fulfilling lives through technology by sharing and uploading the latest news and updates on technology for the blind. From time to time, you will be hearing different voices on the channel who will be covering everything from new assistive devices to accessible apps and softwares. These personalities will also be sharing tips and tricks on how to use technology to your advantage. We will be so glad if you can subscribe to the channel. I hope you'll find our videos helpful and informative. Please feel free to leave comments, share the videos, and suggest topics for future videos. Together, we can make technology more accessible for everyone.
The instrumental for this video is provided by InnerSanctum Entertainment Ltd.
Keyboard environments. Do you know the power of your keyboard? Either as a visually impaired or a sighted user, the power of keyboard cannot be underrated, mostly if you are visually impaired. And as a sighted user, ability to know how to use your keyboard very well make your work faster. For visually impaired, note, you don't use the mouse because you cannot see it, so you are limited to the use of keyboard. The combination of one or two keys together to perform a function is known as keystrokes. Let's quickly talk about the layouts of a keyboard. Note, I will be using the QWERTY keyboard as a sample, which is the most popular keyboard we have. There are 5 layouts of a keyboard. They are 1. Functional keys, 2. Navigational keys, 3. Modifier keys, 4. Word processing keys, 5. Numpad keys. I will explain if you see more in any of your textbook. I would explain why it is, but for me, those 5 are the basic keyboard layout we have. The functional key is located on the topmost row of your keyboard. If you look your keyboard from your left to the right, the topmost row, the first thing you see there is the escape key, and after that you have the functional key. Before, the functional keys are F1 to F24, but today what we have is F1 to F12. Let's quickly talk about the function of those F1 to F12. We'll talk about it using the Microsoft operating system as your normal operating system, Windows operating system, as the function applies to them, and also using your JAWS as your default screen reader for a visually impaired, how these keys could help you work faster. Note, sometimes some application also modify this key to perform some certain tasks on their software. But for now, I'll talk about just few of them that we can talk about. 1. F1. F1 is mostly used as help on your system. Windows key with F1, that is the start menu key with F1, gives you the ability to what we call help on Windows help. As a visually impaired user, insert plus F1 gives you what we call list of help on that particular application. F2. F2 gives you the ability to rename an highlighted or a selected file, folder, or a shortcut to an application. Control, Shift plus F2 give you what we call print preview. Note, this first two I mentioned is applicable both to a visually impaired or a sighted user. Whether you have a screen reader or not, F2 could help you to rename. Insert F2 for visually impaired using JAWS, open what we call Runs JAWS Manager for you for visually impaired. Note, for people who use Windows 8 or who have downgraded their system from Windows 8 to 7 and who use JAWS as their default screen reader, it is realized that most time for your functional key to work, you need to add FN key to it. We shall talk about where you can locate the FN key on your keyboard environment. F3. F3 helps you to repeat a particular function you just carried out on your computer system. Shift F3 in Microsoft Office Word helps you to change highlighted text from all through to capital letter, that is from small to capital letter all through, from capital letter to small letter all through, or make the first alphabet in each word to be capital letter while others should be small letter. That is Shift F3 in Microsoft Office Word. Also, F4. F4 takes your cursor to the address bar. Alt F4 help you to close a program. Either this is Microsoft operating system function, so it's not limited to you as a visually impaired. Both sighted users can use this. Ctrl F4 closes a window within the whole entire window. For example, you can open two different documents and you can close it within the normal Microsoft Office Word using Ctrl F4, while the other one will still be opened. That's for F4. For JAWS users, insert plus F4 unload your JAWS. That is, if you want to turn off JAWS completely, insert for plus F4 turn off your JAWS. That's for screen reader users. Let's quickly move ahead. F5 to F8. F5s help you to refresh on your Internet Explorer. This is not for visually impaired alone. Even as a sighted user, F5 refresh on your web browser, be it Internet Explorer or Mozilla Firefox. F5 help you to refresh. F6. F6 takes your cursor to the address bar for you to type within your web browser. That is, on your Internet Explorer or Mozilla Firefox, any web browser that you're using, F6 takes your cursor into the address bar or your URL, as the case may be. Also, using the Microsoft Office packages such as Microsoft Office Word, Microsoft Office Excel, Microsoft PowerPoint presentation, F6 takes your cursor around from your status bar to the task pane, to the document pane, to the menu bar, and also to the ribbon. Note, this is a feature of Microsoft Office and not a feature of JAWS. F6 does that very well in Microsoft Office packages. In addition, Ctrl F6 help you to switch in between two Microsoft Office documents. For Internet Explorer users, insert plus F6, which is a JAWS settings, helps you to have what we call list of all headings. That's insert plus F6. Let's move to the next one. F7. F7 is used for spell check in Microsoft Office Word. It gives the ability for you to have what we call spell check in Microsoft Office Word. Shift plus F7 helps you to have what we call thesaurus of an highlighted text. A text you've highlighted, Shift plus F7 gives you the option of thesaurus, that is synonyms, on highlighted text within your Microsoft Office Word. For JAWS users, insert plus F7 give you what we call list of all links in your Internet Explorer, that is within your web browser, not only Internet Explorer, within your web browser. Now, let's move to the next one. F8. F8 as well does not have much function for you to do. It helps to do what we call safe mode. Safe mode is a function whereby if your system is not booting to the normal desktop environment, you use what we call F8 to boot it using the safe mode version. So F8 works for safe mode. F9 help you to refresh within your Microsoft Office Word if it hang. So there is no more function to F9 on its own as well. F10. For sighted users, you right click to seek what we call contextual menu. Visually impaired as well could do that using the application key, in which I'll talk about soon. But if you are a Windows 8 user or you use JAWS 15, most time your application key does not function. So Shift plus F10 gives you what we call application key. You can use it as your application key to have your contextual menu, in which a sighted will do using their normal right click. Also, let's talk about F11 and F12. F11 helps you to have full screen mode in your web browser, mostly Internet Explorer. Or sometimes when you have some application that does not have the full screen mode, F11 gives you the full screen mode. Insert plus F11 take you to what we call system tray. We'll talk about system tray in desktop environment. Insert plus F11 takes your cursor to your system tray, and as well, which is a JAWS settings, but the normal F11 give you what we call full screen mode. F12 give you the function of save as in your Microsoft Office Word, while Shift and F12 function the same thing as what you use your normal Control S to do. Shift F12 is the same thing as normal thing you use your Control S to do. Lest I forget, there's something we call menu bar, in which F10 as well does that for you. F10 also takes your cursor to the menu bar. The menu bar is what you see where you have your file, edit, view, which is on the second row from the top of any file explorer or window explorer, even be it on your web browser. Most times you see that on the second row before the address bar in any typical window explorer. So these are the function of F1 to F12. Let's go to number 2, navigational keys. Navigational keys are keys that allows you to move your cursors around as a visually impaired or even as a sighted user, moving up and down. And what are these navigational keys? Your arrow keys, which is up, down, right and left, home, and page up and page down. You will find them on your system most time. This up, down, right and left, which is the arrow key, home and page up, page down, gives you ability to move around on a page. For example, the sighted will use the mouse to go to the vertical bar. Mostly the vertical bar is on the right side on any window explorer to scroll down. As a visually impaired, if you cannot use your arrow key up and down, you can use your page up, page down to quickly jump to the next page or quickly move faster as well. While the home and end key as well is also a navigational key. These are the navigational keys. Number 3, modifier keys. The modifier keys have different contents, but some textbook said that modifier keys are keys that does not function alone. That is, you have to use them with 1 or 2 keys before it function. And such textbook said the Alt, Shift and Control key does not function alone, inclusive of the insert key. They are right. But as a visually impaired user, the Alt key can function alone because it gives you what we call the menu bar. So, as for me, I would classify the following set of keys in this location as your modifier key. If you start from the top, the first key on your system from the top, that is, from your left hand side, the first key is escape, followed by what we call graph. Some text from system or screen reader will recognize it to be tilde, followed by what we call the tab key, followed by caps lock, followed by shift, followed by control. Once you get to the control, If you turn to your right, then the next set of keys you see: FN key, Start menu key, Alt key. Sometimes some system does not have the FN key, but those are the old system. Most recent system, you will see the FN key there as well. So after the FN key, Start menu key, Application key. Note, for people using Windows 8, it has been changed from Start menu to what we call Start screen. That's what Jaws will call it for you. And after you have the Start menu and the Alt key, you have your space bar. Then after that, you have another Alt key, followed by Application key. The Application key also is the key that does the same thing that the sighted use the normal right click to do. Application key will give you that function. Then after that, you have another Control key. Most times after the Control key, you have your left arrow, up and down arrow key, the right arrow key, and on top of the up arrow key you have the Shift key, and you have the Enter. Note, this is just an arrangement. That doesn't mean that's what you will see in all systems, but it's applicable to most systems. I use the word most, not all computer system. So the basic modifier keys are Escape, Graph, Tab, Caps Lock, Shift, Control, FN key, Start menu key, Alt key, Application key. These are mostly known to be modifier keys. Let's move ahead to the fourth one, which is the word processing keys. Word processing keys are keys that comprises of alphabetical key, numerical keys, or your symbolical keys. That is, a word processing key are the keys that contains alphabets, numbers, and symbols. The three of them are under word processing keys. So the numbers, you have them on your num row, which is the second row. After your escape from your left, if you come to the second key, you have what we call the graph, and in front of the graph you have number 1 to 0. Note, if you press Shift and 1, it gives you another function. Shift and 2 gives you a function. For example, most system, Shift and 1 give you exclamation, Shift and 2 give you at, the one you use for your mail, maybe bolade@gmail.com, as the case may be. Shift and 3 gives you hash, and many more. So try to use that. Shift and the 1 to 0 on your system. Shift and 7 give you hand, Shift and 5 give you percentage, and many more. After the 0, you have the you have the plus, you have the equals to as well around that region. If you combine it, after the tabs key, which is the third, on the third row, using a normal QWERTY keyboard, after the tab key you have QWERTYUIOP, and as well you have the open bracket, close bracket. Just might call you left parent, right parent. After that region, if you come down to the fourth row, starting from caps lock, then you have ASDF, GHJKL, semicolon, and apostrophe. Note, on your F key and J key, there is a little bump on it. This is kept there for specifically for visually impaired, for them to be able to locate their home keys. These ASDF, JKL semicolon are home keys. We call them the home keys. If you look any keyboard, be it on your laptop or the normal desktop keyboard, F and J, feel it very well. There is a bump around it that indicate to you that you are putting your hand. So from the F, you can spread the other fingers to the DSA, and from the J, you can spread the other fingers to KL semicolon. And beside the semicolon, you have the apostrophe, and Shift and apostrophe as well will give you quotes. And beside the quotes, or the apostrophe, you have enter most time. Also, if you come to the fifth row, you have the Shift key, and after the Shift key, you have the ZXCVB, NM, full stop, slash. Note, in some system, realize after the shift key you will see slash key before the ZX in some system, not all. While some other system, after the shift key you have your Z immediately. So I've only give a descriptive way for you to know how the keyboard look like. Next one is numpad keys. Number 5. The numpad keys are keys that you see by the right hand side of your computer system. They are on that region, assigned there specifically for you to do more of calculations, and as well we use them very well as a visually impaired to do some particular function in which you shall understand more. But for you to know, most time if you have a numpad keys, and numpad keys are mostly found on desktop keyboard. Also, you can find them on laptop keyboard as well, but not all. But if you want to know, ask a sighted user to look that for you, or your computer instructor to help you check it out as a new user of a computer system, because the first set of keys you have on your numpad keys, on the first 4 keys you have, which is on the topmost row of any numpad keys, could be home, end, page up, or page down. While sometimes some people arrange it to be home, page up, page down, or end. Or some arrange it to be page up, page down, home, and end. These are the 3 ways I've been able to see how they arrange the first set of 4 keys on the topmost row of a numpad keys. If you come beneath it, you have what we call the numlock. After, beside the numlock, you have a slash, asterisk, and minus. The numlocks, it means for you to lock the numpad keys. Most time the default setting is the numlock is always off. Anytime you boot your system. So if you press it, it will always tell you numlock on, and if you press it again, it tells you numlock off. So apart from those numlock, you have next set of keys 7, 8, 9. Beneath the 7, 8, 9, you have 4, 5, 6. Beneath it, you have 1, 2, 3, and if you come down, you have the 0 dot. Beside, you have plus and enter. Note, there's also a bump on that number 5, the 5 on the numpad. Note, you have to know that some functions, in which I mean keystrokes, are not allowed to be used. I mean the numbers. Some numbers keystrokes are not allowed to be used with the numpad here. Sometimes you need to use it with the num roll, which is on the second, while some of them you use it with the numpad. Now, note, some textbook will tell you that you have what we call multimedia keys. Multimedia keys are keys that are assigned most times to your functional key, mostly on the laptop we find today. On most laptop you find today, you would see function of multimedia assigned to the functional key. The reason I have not discussed this is this: depending on the producer or the manufacturer of your laptop or your computer, sometimes you realize F6 mute, F7, F6 could mute, while F8 could increase, F9 could decrease, F7 could pause or play on the laptop. And if you check another system again, you will see that that function has shifted to F8, F9, F10, 11, and 12. So they are not specified to be on one particular functional keys. Also, the use of increase the brightness of your screen, most times these ones as well are not specified to be on a particular functional keys. For example, some laptop has what we call mouse lock, which is on top of the mouse pad. Some system does not have, and we observe that on an Acer laptop you can use your FN key and F7 to lock the mouse. On a Toshiba laptop you can use your FN and F9 key to lock the mouse. So that tells you it varies. When it comes to some certain function, the so-called manufacturers adjust the way this thing works and they change it. So multimedia keys are not fully accepted as part of the layout of a typical keyboard layout. So let's quickly revise it. Functional keys F1 to F12, modifier keys, navigational keys, your arrow keys, home, page up and page down, word processing keys consisting of alphabetical, numbers, symbolic, and your numpad keys. These are just basic keys on a typical QWERTY keyboard environment.